Thank you so much. Now it's time to take this. Thank you so much.
I request Professor Dr. Modis Ahmed, former Dean, Faculty of Arts, University of Karachi. Sir, please come up on stage and have your seat. Professor Dr. Modis Ahmed. I request Mr. Sabine Azam. Please come on stage. Paper presenter, Ms. Sabine Azam.
I request Ms. Sabine Azam. She is a paper presenter. There is two online paper presenters, Muhammad Ismail from Alaikum International University, and Dr. Adrisha Duishki from University of Karachi. I request Professor Dr. Duishki from University of Warmia and Mazury. Please come on stage, sir. Now let's start the session. I request Professor Dr. Monis Ahmed, the chairman of the session, so please deliver keynote speech.
Thank you very much. Let me remind, as a session chair, that each speaker, those who will present their papers, they will have 10 minutes. Because we have to conclude this session by 1. If you want to go beyond, you can go, but be mindful that 10, 12 minutes for each speaker. This is one thing. And then the second thing is that before I conclude the session, if there is time, there will be some Q&A, meaning just one round of question answer session. I must thank Federal Urdu University, Department of International Relations, and also Institute of Political Science, University of Warmia and Mazury. And basically the conference, the theme of the conference, that is Polish-Pakistan relations, challenges and opportunities. As a keynote speaker, I need your attention please. As a keynote speaker, let me spell out couple of things, 3 things. The first is the background of the topic. The second is the historical dimension of Pakistan-Polish relations. The third is the economic side of relations. And then there is another dimension, the way forward. Where do we go from here? About Poland, very briefly, that its population is only 38 million, 38.5 million, which is slightly higher than Karachi. So Karachi's population is 25 million. Poland's population is 38 million. But it is a country which has a lot of space. And then the second thing is that Poland is perhaps the only country, the world, and my Polish colleagues, they know better than me, which disappeared from the map of the world. Late 18th century. Poland was partitioned thrice. First partition of Poland, second partition of Poland, third partition of Poland, you name it. So there is a resilience as far as the people of Poland concerned. And who can forget the historic movement which was launched by a trade unionist, Lech Walesa, that he was the one who formed Solidarity movement. And Poland, Warsaw Pact, and certainly the changes which took place after the end of the Cold War. And Poland is a member of NATO now. Coming to the keynote speech, a reference was made about Polish-Pakistan relations. Couple of references were made that we are celebrating 60th anniversary of Polish-Pakistan relations on 17th of December. 2022. Polish embassy was established in Karachi in 1962 and then was moved to Islamabad in 1965. Pakistan established its embassy in Warsaw in 1969. Three things which happened in Polish-Pakistan relations. The first is certainly for a long period of time there was an ideological factor. Poland, a member of Warsaw Pact, an ally of the Soviet Union. So that ideological factor to some extent impeded relations between Pakistan and Poland. The second thing is that despite the ideological dimension, Polish-Pakistan relations continued. 1970-1971, the total trade of Poland and Pakistan was $40 million. And Poland at that time, that is 51 years ago, was Pakistan's 7th largest trading partner. Now, the total volume of trade between Pakistan and Poland, which I will discuss later on, that is more than 500 million euros. The third thing is, apart from, the ideological factor, and despite that, the relations between these two countries continued. An unfortunate incident took place on November 1st, 1970, when the Polish deputy foreign minister was unfortunately killed by a PIA catering van driver. And not only the Polish deputy foreign minister was killed, 2 journalists were killed, and the deputy director of intelligence bureau was also killed. Now, the incident took place when the Polish delegation led by the President of Poland was departing to Warsaw from Karachi. And why it happened? When the person was interrogated by the state that you killed the Polish deputy, although the target was the Polish president, but he escaped somehow because there was a VVIP line and the catering van, it ramped into the... So he said that it's my holy mission to kill all these socialists, as that was his mindset, against communists, against socialists. Anyway, now, I don't want to repeat what was said in the morning in the inaugural session, that how after the end of the Second World War, making use of, or during the Second World War, making use of the Persian corridor, from Soviet Union, 30,000 Polish nationals were transported to British India to the port city of Karachi. They were evacuated from the USSR. And it is the legacy of the 30,000, that's a lot of number, that after 1947, when Pakistan came into being, they were granted citizenship, many of them. Then in 1948, the then Prime Minister of Pakistan, Liaquat Ali Khan, he authorized or sanctioned a 3-year agreement in which the Pakistan Air Force, PAF, Pakistan Air Force, that how the Polish officers were inducted into the Pakistan Air Force. And one officer, he reached to the position of Deputy Chief of Air Staff. There were 30, instructors and others, the Polish from that side, who became part of the Pakistan Air Force, and they fought during 1965 and 1971 war, Indo-Pakistan war. So that is what is the historical thing as far as these two countries are concerned, although far, but then 30,000 Polish nationals living in Pakistan at that time, who were basically facilitated by the British. Trade and commercial relations between these two countries, I mentioned that how in 1970, 1971, the trade between Poland and Pakistan, that was $40 million, and Poland was Pakistan's seventh largest trading partner. Three areas where Polish-Pakistan trade flourished. The first one was cooperation in shipping and shipbuilding. That agreements were signed between Polish shipping company in Gdynia, they pronounce it Gdynia, although the spelling is Gdynia, and Pakistan Ocean Shipping Company. So there is a history to it, that how interaction between Pakistan shipping and the Polish shipping grew with the passage of time. 1964, when there was a barter agreement signed in 1964 between these two countries. And then certainly an agreement was signed between Poland and Pakistan way back on September 25th, 1974 on avoidance of double taxation. A maritime trade agreement was signed January 25th, 1975. Agreement on civil aviation signed 30th September 1977, and many, many others. So therefore, in 2007, that was the milestone in Polish-Pakistan relations, when the then President of Pakistan, Pervez Musharraf, he visited Warsaw in 2007. And 5 bilateral agreements were signed and MOUs were signed, encompassing defense cooperation, small and medium size enterprises, industries, cooperation, education, science, culture, and other areas. Federation of Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Pakistan and their counterpart in Poland, they were also. And then certainly that how other areas of cooperation took place. I mean, this conference is not the only conference on Polish-Pakistan relations. Way back, this year, February 12, 2020, there is an institute in Islamabad, which is a Muslim institute. It organized a seminar on Pakistan-Poland relations, pursuing a collaborative future. And then there was joint international conference by the Youth Diplomacy Forum in Islamabad and Warsaw Institute. That was held also this year. So therefore, when we talk about Polish-Pakistan relations, certainly there are bright prospects, there are opportunities, and there are also challenges. Trade of 500 to 600 million euros, I think that is nothing. And certainly there is a scope as far as information technology is concerned, and in education, in science and technology, in culture and elsewhere. So when we are celebrating 50th anniversary of Polish-Pakistan relations, we have to be mindful to the fact that these two countries can collaborate in diplomacy as far as economic, because Poland is a member of European Union, and Poland has supported Pakistan that GSP, that is Generalized System of Preferences, status, GSP plus status, be given to Pakistan. So Poland has been supporting. Ukraine is another area, war in Ukraine. That Poland, as a member of Ukraine, as a neighbor of Ukraine and Belarusia, and how the war in Ukraine is affecting Poland. And Pakistan and Poland can certainly play a role for an early end of war in Ukraine, because the war in Ukraine, if it continues for long, it will destabilize the whole of Europe, like the war in Bosnia-Herzegovina did, former Yugoslavia, in early 1990s. Now, there is, I will just finish because I think my time is up, is over. But there are a couple of things which we have to remember. That the Polish president visited Pakistan in 1970. Pakistan's president visited Warsaw in 2007. But there have been visits by the Chairman Senate, the Chief of Army Staff, the then Chief of Army Staff, the former Chief of Army Staff, who retired a couple of days back, General Khamar Javed Bajwa. He visited Poland last year. So there is defense cooperation between Poland and Pakistan. And also, as far as the Chairman Senate and other, the assemblies, the national assemblies and things like that. So there has been a lot of activity going on. What is required is to move beyond a state-centric approach as far as Polish-Pakistan relations concerned. And Poland is very much mindful, is supportive for augmenting cultural, educational, scientific ties between Poland and Pakistan. Track 1 is there, track 1 diplomacy. But this is track 2, what we are witnessing. Track 2 is diplomacy between the non-officials of the two countries. And then there's another track. If you want to have a breakthrough in Pakistan-Polish relations, which is called as track 3, people-to-people interaction. How many of us are knowledgeable about Poland and vice versa? And unless we read history, that a country which had disappeared from the map of the world several times, reappeared, and how Germany and Russia collaborated. That when German forces, they attacked Poland on 1st of September 1939. That was the beginning of World War II. And then, of course, the genocide in Poland of Jews. Hundreds and thousands of Jews were massacred in Poland. Hundreds and thousands of Poles were killed. So Poland has suffered a lot. Absolutely. And then its present leadership wants that there should be peace. And the challenge is the war in Ukraine. Russia, when I visited Berlin, I will just end. When I visited Berlin in 2018, in Brandenburg Gate. So Brandenburg Gate, that's a very historical, place in Berlin. So there was a wall in Brandenburg Gate, a wall which basically reflected the Polish, Polish-German relations, year by year. Now, So trade relations, economic relations, cultural relations. This is the world of geoeconomics, information technology, globalization and soft power. And therefore, I would end the note that this track 2 event, which has integrated from scholars from Poland and from Pakistan and the students and all that, track 2 primarily can be very useful provided it is supplemented with track 3. If you have a Schengen visa, Schengen visa, you can visit Poland. Absolutely. Poland is a member of European Union. No questions asked. But how many of us have the opportunity or they visit Poland? If you want to Schengen visa, you go to France, you go to Germany, you go to Italy and other, thank you very much, and other members of European Union. But going towards eastward, as far as, because Poland is not a Central European country, it's an Eastern European country. Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, these countries. And then, of course, you have Czech Republic, you have Slovakia, further down. So that can be done through, as far as Poland is concerned. And I am glad, I must compliment again in the end. Yes, in the end, the fact that Department of International Relations Federal Urdu University has organized a conference, a 2-day conference on Polish-Pakistan relations, challenges and opportunities. I urge upon the organizers to document this event, send recommendations to the policy makers, both in Warsaw and in Islamabad, that where do we go from here. Thank you very much. I regret that I exceeded my time. I mean, there are two things which happen. I mean, it's applied everywhere, more in all parts of the world. One is mic. You don't want to leave by mic. And the second is, you don't want to leave your chair. Stick to your chair. You stick to your mic. Now, reverting back to the session, or first speaker, I have not introduced myself as the regular speaker. The first speaker is Sabeen Azam. Title of her paper is Pakistan-Poland Political Relations. In what she has written, not what we have written over here, in general, in bracket, retired, Parvez Musharraf Abdullah. I am glad that you will be specific. So over to you. And be mindful as far as timeline. Otherwise you will get us late.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello, I hope you all are doing well. Myself Sabeen Azam, and today I gonna be talking on the topic Pakistan-Poland political relations in General Retired Parvez Musharraf era. And previously I have done my MPhil in International Relations from Greenwich University. And here I go with my presentation. And these are the contents which today I am going to talk about. So I go to the objectives which are specific for this current study. And afterwards, I would be talking on Pak-Polish relations and then the chronology, specifically the events vis-a-vis. And afterwards, I would be coming to the conclusion and then the support of references. So with your permission, should I start with the introduction? Thank you so much, sir. In this present global era, the cardinal relations with the states are very important, as we all know. Pakistan is a country with great geopolitical and strategic importance. Pakistan tries to boost and channelize the diplomatic tools to these relations, not only politically, but economically and vis-a-vis strategically too. And the objectives which I am going to address in this presentations are to evaluate the Pak-Polish relations. And so this is a qualitative study, and I had supported that with the published reports and the websites, and I had just analyzed the data from the secondary sources. So coming to my first objective, so I had gone for the chronological literature review. So I just started like Pak-Polish relations. Pakistan and Poland share something more than the P in their names. Like Pakistan and Polish both have a similar P in their names. Pakistan is being among the first Muslim countries, as we all are getting to know from the beginning of this session, to develop the relations with Poland. They share a fragment of history. The immense significance of these events based upon mutual relations, which can and should not be denied. And as all the keynotes worthy speakers told you about the 1940s, how after the World War II, 30,000 refugees from East Poland just came into Karachi, and the concept which I in my paper come to is public diplomacy using the soft power. Besides hard power, there is the concept of soft power, which Poland since 1940 is projecting in Pakistan via people-to-people diplomacy and connections. So among them, most joined the academia, like Karachi University and other worthy institutes. So coming to 1947, when British were pulling out, the new Pakistani government asked the British Air Force Command to point out the most experienced and trusted pilots who would be able to create an air force in Pakistan. The British Air Force Command suggests Polish officers, pilots and technicians from the Royal Air Force that after the World War II were laid off, were able and still remained in Britain. 30 Poles, 70 pilots and 13 technicians choose to join the Royal Pakistan Air Force as a team. They were led by squadron leader, pardon with my pronunciation of the name, because this is Vladislav Truvich, a pilot and engineer. So that was of 1947 chronological literature. And then in 1960, so about the specific contribution of Sir Vladimir in the Pakistan Air Force. The most notable, however, among them, as I mentioned, was Truvich, who brought his tremendous skills and knowledge with him. He set up technical institutes in Karachi. He taught and revitalized the Pakistan Air Force Academy, where he also worked as chief scientist. Then he also served as the chief scientist in Pakistan National Space Agency and also played a vital role in Pakistan space and missile program. So this was like in his services. In 2005, PAF Museum Karachi placed a memorial plaque in his honor. So the golden frame is like the acknowledgement from the people and the government of Pakistan regarding his services. And besides that, Sparko complex in Lahore, might be we know, is named as General Vladislav Truvich Space Complex. So that is after named his legacy. And coming to 1965, who can forget that year? Not only did they help establishing the Pakistan Air Force, which today is recognized as one of the best and most professional worldwide, but they played a crucial role in defending the skies of Lahore during the 1965 Indo-Pak War. And yes, the people diplomacy. as I'm talking about. Air Commodore, previously I was reading an article and that was just written by recently Mr. Khalid Chishti. He is Air Commodore, and the title of his written piece was Polish Legend of Pakistan. So I just came to know a very interesting fact that a person from the same field is recognizing services. So in this word he say, I have no hesitation in saying that for the times to come, whenever the foundation of flying in Pakistan Air Force would be talked about, the war achievements of 1965, Pakistan's satellite or space program, or Pakistan expertise in rocket and missile technology, such discussions would be incomplete without including the services made by Honorable Truwich and his wife. Of course, most of us didn't know the name of his wife, and her name was like Zofia Truwich, and she was a PhD, and she was also a gladiator, and she also served at Shaheen Airline. She taught like paragliding to the students, and she was also teaching like subjects in Karachi University. And besides that, she was awarded the Pakistan prestigious award Sitara Imtiaz. Besides that, sir, which I want to know everyone regarding these relations, that Mr. Truwich also had the Sitara Imtiaz, Sitara Pakistan, Assalam Award of Aeronautical Engineering, ICTP Award in Space Physics, and besides that, from the Polish government, Cross of Merit Poland, Order of Merit of the Republic of Poland. So he was just awarded these recognizations in form of awards. So in 1990, another great example of Pakistan and Poland friendship would be in the shipping industry, with the fact that till early 90s, Polish flag vessels used to occupy around 30% of the berth at Karachi port and at any given time, which greatly facilitated the enhancement of trade to and from Pakistan, especially to Europe. And yes, the projection of soft power in 2005 earthquake. Poland was also one of the biggest supporter when the deadly earthquake of 2005 hit Pakistan. Poland sent military engineers, geological scientists, and rescue dogs. Poland helped Pakistan to rebuild the earthquake-affected cities of Pakistan. So the history is very long, and now coming to the triggering point, like when the relationship of Pakistan and Poland were again would be on the track and would channelize, and that was the period of General Retired Pervez Musharraf era, and already mentioned by worthy sermonists that how would they like flourished. So in the picture, President of Poland and General Retired Pervez Musharraf are like standing in 2007 on the visit of Poland. To further enhance the trade between Pakistan and Poland, President General Pervez Musharraf visited Poland with a trade delegation on 28th April 2007. The visit of President Musharraf to Poland in 2007 was the beginning of a more active partnership that was not possible during the Cold War. His visit was a great success as a number of agreements and MOUs were signed between the two countries, which included a cooperation agreement on international affairs, development of small and medium enterprises, cooperation in the field of science, education, and culture. And there was a MOU signed for cooperation between Chamber of Commerce and Industry between both the countries. Last but not the least, an agreement was signed for the national defense of both the countries. So beside the helping in the hard power section, Poland is vis-a-vis helpful, like I just mentioned, to support my first objective, the soft power of Pakistan too. And yes, Pak-Poland trade, I just got it from a source, like 2016 to 2020, and that was like, you all are looking at Pakistan exports, and you can see from the year to year, the exports are not that much, but they are still increasing. There isn't any decline. Till 2020 was the time of pandemic, but the trade.
In US dollars?
Yeah, yes, sir. This is in US dollars. And the trade volume has increased by compound annual growth rate of 5%. So that is the increase, not that much, 5%, but that is also acknowledgeable that we are still with improving our trade with Poland. And from million, like 2.58 millions in 2016 to 359 millions in 2020. And these are exports to Poland in 2020. Mostly we are just like exporting and importing the textiles, cotton, and vis-a-vis paper and some kind of machinery. The trade volume between the both countries have remained below $265.5 million over the years. And this is like from 2007 vis-a-vis, this is increasing, but still it need more to be increased. And just coming up to the conclusion, the bilateral relations of Pakistan and Poland are very important. And from the beginning, both countries had utilized people diplomacy and soft power tool to boost these relations. In the time of General Retired Pervez Musharraf era, Pakistan-Poland bilateral political consultations, which were held by both governments, showed their interest and desire to strengthen their ties further in the future. The trade and political ties were strengthened, which paved the path for the present trade ventures. And in 2007, the Consulate of Poland also showed interest to be work with in the CPEC project regarding the Gwadar. So we still are hoping that besides these things, projection of soft power like in academia and in skill development, in scholarships, Poland is working. But besides that, there should be ventures like industries and IT houses, many things in future that can be boost Pakistani economy too. Now these are, thank you so much, thank you. And these are the things, the references which are supporting my paper. I must appreciate if you want to read the references. Thank you so much for having me and listening me and providing me the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sabine, for your research-based paper. And I really like when you mentioned about soft power and hard power.
I'm working on soft power.
So you know Joseph Nye?
Yes, Joseph Nye.
Harvard University. Anyway, now let's move on. The next speaker is the Warmia, the University of Poland. The topic is the perception of threat.
But I cannot start it because he switched off the option of sharing. So could you please allow me to share my presentation? So let me start. If I'm audible, I'm very happy to see you and very happy to participate in this event, in this conference. So my congratulations to the organizers of the first Pakistan-Poland International Scientific Conference. Unfortunately, this time I could not come to Karachi, but I have conducted my research in Pakistan over the last 10 years. I've been 7 times to Pakistan, including Karachi. This time I could not come. Today I would like to share my research about the perception of threats in Pakistan-Polish political discourses. I think that this is massively important and interesting to analyze these interactions. Although the two countries are geographically distant, I would say there are certain similarities. In this political discourses, I would give my analytical framework that refers to the uncertainties resulting from a variety of sources that the countries have to deal with. And as the authors of the article on science and society in the face of the new security threat emphasized that there are certain elements that impact the international interactions, like direct human intentionality for shaping social structures. But I would also add that the geopolitical discourses are influenced by the general specificity of the political situation in the region and on a global level as well. So humans attempt to use their perceptions about the world to capture their environment, to have an impact on their environment, including the political environment. And the goal is easy to understand. It's to reduce uncertainty. And of course, these elements are thoroughly discussed by the international relations theorists, who assume that there is a correlation between international influences and the foreign policy decision-making of a country. So the threat perception has a major role in foreign policy. And we have this realist approach that the threat is objectively given, and accordingly certain elements of the policies are introduced on a domestic and international level. But it is also quite often very challenging to assess what is objective, because there are subjective evaluations as well that inevitably play an important part in states' assessments, according to the Copenhagen School of Thought represented, for example, by Barry Woolden. This is an interesting analysis here. And they, the authors of the article published in 2009, Walters, 1952, and the objective and subjective conception of security, which is here an important and interesting element of analysis. So the key research hypotheses in my paper are as follows: that geographic regional dynamics largely shapes the perception of threat in all countries, both in Pakistan and Poland, and you can find certain similarities. These analyses are quite an important element of the general discussion about the dynamically changing world order, the sort of comparative analysis of certain countries. So the regional and global world order and interactions with threat neighbors, in both cases, influence the geostrategic capabilities of these countries and impact their relationships with other international actors, both the direct neighborhood and beyond. Although they are geographically distant, as I already emphasized, we can find lots of similarities and also, of course, differences in the way both countries perceive and define their security threats. And this, I would say that it fills to some extent the research gap. As in general, this entire conference topic, this is an important filling of the research gap, the analysis of bilateral relations in a multi-dimensional way. So this is the aim of the study, to analyze both state approaches towards powerful neighbors, to find similarities in the threat-related official narratives in Islamabad and Warsaw, and present empirical case study research that addresses the influences of external, domestic circumstances on the perception of threat and the way it transforms into political discourses, because the perception of threat per se is a very important element that has impact on the way both countries project their own political activities and present the international relations, find, assess similarities and differences of these narratives. As you can see here, of course it was mentioned, and I'm sure it was also mentioned at the beginning of the conference, the differences from 138 million countries, Pakistan, 220 and more. So in this regard, these two countries are quite different. The geopolitical location of Poland is also quite different. I mean, geopolitical perception, location, and the way Poland is participating in these local interactions. Now, Poland is a member of the EU, so on the western side of the border, there is, we could say, the peaceful interactions with allies within the EU, within the NATO, like the eastern border is a major point of concern, as we all know perfectly well. Pakistan is also geostrategically located, and it has many characteristic features with cooperations and conflicts with its direct neighbors, with unpredictable situations in Afghanistan, with borders that are not officially recognized part of the border with India and Kashmir, and also the so-called Durand line. So that, as I don't have too much time to go into details, but I can only present certain elements, basic elements of this research, I will go straight to these similarities. So definitely vulnerabilities, geostrategic vulnerabilities that are related to direct neighborhood, and they are all historically shaped, as we know, these security concerns. And this is a major element in history, going back to history and analyzing what happened and why, for example, Poland was independent, and in the case of Pakistan, how it was created in 1947 and immediately accompanied with certain security threats. So these, which also, this narrative also goes back to history, and they are key elements of state-led discourses and the perception of threat. And obviously, there, as we can find these vulnerabilities, there is a permanent need to address the dynamically evolving regional security situation. In Pakistan's case, it's the so-called post-American Afghanistan and the potential threats from Afghanistan, the refugee issue. The refugees who have been coming to Pakistan since the 70s. And then the rise of India, it's a permanent, the India-centric permanent perception of threat is a major pillar of Pakistan's security perception. And what will India, what are India's intentions, what is India's policy, how India strengthens its position in the region and also in the international level. This is a major point of concern in Pakistan. And in Poland's case, of course, the aggressive Russian invasion of Ukraine and potential regional consequences, including also the refugees. So both Poland and Pakistan are now dealing, and Poland entered this phase of dealing with refugees rapidly in the recent times, whereas Pakistan has been dealing with this issue over the decades. Not many people in Poland know that Pakistan is one of the countries that accepts the most refugees in the world. Also one of the countries, I think, I don't know, the second or third or fourth, but it's one of the important countries with the refugee issue. And then there is this important pillar of Pakistani culture policies, which are based on religion, the majoritarian religion. So majoritarianism, religiously motivated as a key ideological factor in domestic, both and also international discourses. And explanation, it's used as a sort of explanation of the unique role of the state, the nation has to play in the regional geopolitical system. And it is strictly directly connected with the conception of nation, the way the nation is projected, is perceived, and it's politically used as well, which includes the emphasis on certain internationally selected values, intentionally selected values that are supposed to protect the national identity against certain foreign influences, which are projected as a threat to this identity, the unique identity. So this sense of is also an interesting feature that characterizes most discourses in Poland and Pakistan. And then if we look at the differences, obviously they are directly connected with regional specificity of both countries. The way they construct their policies through perception through bilateral, multilateral, regional alliances and rivalries. In South Asia, it's a quite different situation when we talk about cooperation, intra-regional cooperation initiatives. The European Union engages the countries that somehow pave the way to the deep political, economic, social cooperation within the region. And there is the NATO which provides security to the countries that are members of this alliance. But in the case of South Asian situation looks quite different. There is a lack of efficient intra-regional cooperation that directly influences the policies of all countries involved. And also, of course, it takes Pakistan's security concern. That because of protracted conflict with India, there is no important cooperation, economic or the potential is simply not within South Asia. It's, I think, the least internally cooperating region in the world in such a conflict, unfortunately. And also Pakistan has major security concerns. Poland does not have the unrecognized borders, so only de facto borders, not de jure borders, like Iran line of between Pakistan and Afghanistan, never been government. And I will not go into details, of course, it's more than interesting airline. And then the line of course. In Kashmir, the divided region, and with probably no prospect for resolution in the upcoming time. So the protracted conflict, which somehow has introduced this division line already during, or especially after the so-called partition of the subcontinent and the establishment of Pakistan. So this is obviously a security threat, a major security threat to Pakistan. How to deal with this much stronger neighbor and how to resolve and introduce certain changes in interaction, bilateral interaction with India. So protracted, it's also obviously escalation from conflict and hinders the cooperation and in case of Poland, the security elements here are quite different because it's also the reason, one of the reasons why there has not been a direct spillover of the war in Ukraine in Poland, because Poland is the member of the Treaty Organization. But the threat remains, it's always been an objective threat from Russia, as we know, the history and being the satellite state dominated by the Soviet in the time.
Professor, if you could kindly wind up.
Impact on Poland.
If you could kindly wind up.
The geographical distance, socio-political differences, and other differences that exist between these two countries regarded as absolute analysis. And this there is to be a deep investigation. The policies of regional powers should be introduced and better analyzed, as they are the sources of this very detailed and provide incentives for domestic policies. And the last thing, last of these, analyzing similarities and differences in Polish-Pakistani security related to the tool that help deepen mutual knowledge. This is the purpose of this conference and other such conferences about current policies of the countries and develop better understanding of the policies, and thus they open perspectives for multidimensional interaction. And that would be it. Thank you very much, and I'm ready to participate in the Q&A session.
Thank you very much. Opening the thread for session in Pakistan-Polish political discourse. So the next speaker Muhammad Ismail. Ismail is he ready? Muhammad Ismail. Polish Pakistan trade and strategic relations. Okay, so Mr. Muhammad Ismail, your topic is Polish Pakistan trade and strategic relations, and we are looking forward to. You have 10 to 12 minutes.
Okay.
This are going to be doing the working and going to try to inform, going to try to go. Then I want to share what are the things to take to take Time is up. If you could kindly wind up your please. Foreign policy from past to the present. My God.
My God. Thank you very much. Okay. Dear professors, dear doctors, dear students. So, what can I say in 10 minutes? And before preparing my speech, I thought a long time what should be a topic, because history and even current bilateral relation were yet presented or described or analyzed. And I decided, to present foreign policy of the Republic of Poland towards the Islamic Republic of Pakistan from the point of view of our prime ministers and ministers of foreign affairs. And then I analyzed the period from 1981 until 2021. And I analyze expose of prime ministers and information of basic direction of Polish foreign policy, which were presented by Polish ministers of foreign affairs. Before the same is the name of the lower chamber of the parliament. Yes, and then we can say that after the Second World War, Poland and Pakistan founded themselves in opposing political and military blocs. So there were no, we can say, such assumptions to establish a strong relation, but despite it was stated that in 1962 the diplomatic relations were established, and Pakistan was the first Islamic state which established such a relation with Poland. And then if we go to the expose of Polish prime ministers, I analyze 17 prime ministers, but 4 of them presented expose 2 times. It was Tadeusz Mazowiecki, Marek Belka, Donald Tusk, and the last our prime minister Mateusz Mazowiecki. And you should remember that after 1989, we had a possibility to create independent, we can say, democratic foreign policy. Before this period, we are very much dependent on Soviet Union. And then was a agreement, a consent among political elites and majority of society that we should join Western institutions and organizations. And main direction was very obvious: go west, go to the go to European Union and North Atlantic Treaty Organization, means NATO and other organizations. So there were and there are our priorities, and we can say also that also regional activity of Polish foreign policy was also one of the priorities, to build new organizational structures like Visegrad Group, or now we can say about Three Seas initiative. And of course, after the collapse of the East Bloc, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, we got new neighbors. And it was also priority to sign friendship agreements with our new neighbors. And other regions of the world was out of our priorities. Even Asia. I can say you very shortly how it was, but Asia was always mentioned as a potential region for economic, trade cooperation, and so on. And some countries were mentioned, and of course China, Japan, Republic of Korea, and India, and nothing, almost nothing more. And we should also know that expose of Poland's prime ministers dealt mainly with the most important internal problems. And as I said, in the context of foreign policy, only the most important priorities of this policy were emphasized. And a very general reference was made to the cooperation with other regions or countries in the world. If we look at the this expose between 1989 and 2009, Asia or Asian were mentioned only 14 times, mostly in the context of cooperation and at the very general level. China and Chinese 7 times, India 1 time. So, if we look at the Tadeusz Mazowiecki, the first prime minister after transition, he mentioned only that our interest is to cooperate, especially economically, with the newly industrialized countries in Asia, Africa, Pacific, Middle East, and Latin America. Nothing more, very general. And Jan Krzysztof Bielecki mentioned whole group of regions and states. It was Japan, Australia, Israel, but no China, no India, and of course no Pakistan. And then in some expose of Polish prime ministers, there were just nothing about Asia, nothing about China, about other countries. For example, Włodzimierz Cimoszewicz, as a prime minister, said, we see opportunities to develop comprehensive cooperation with Republic of Korea, Japan, People's Republic of China, India, and many other countries in Asia, Africa, Latin America, Australia, and Oceania. And also the next Polish prime ministers also mention some Asian countries, but no Pakistan was appear. India, China, Japan, and Jarosław Kaczyński, as a prime minister, said how importance he underlined importance Asia, especially East Asia, and according to his declaration, we want to be present there both economically and culturally. So it was about expose of prime ministers. But if we go to our foreign ministers, the situation is a little bit different. And it was dependent on the situation also in the world. For example, after 11 September 2001, the anti-terrorist coalition was established by United States, and engagement in Afghanistan caused that we also rely a little bit on relation with Pakistan in the context of security, peacekeeping, stabilization missions, and so on. And then going to the first, our Minister of Foreign Affairs, Krzysztof Skubiszewski, he said mentioned only Republic of Korea and some oil states on the Arabian Peninsula, and just nothing. But because time is running, I would like to give you 2 or 3 examples. One is from Anna Fotyga, short term as a Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but it was in 2007 when Pakistani President Musharraf visited Poland. And there were 5 sentences about Polish-Pakistani relation, but mostly in the context of the stabilizing situation in the region, not about cooperation. It should be here mentioned. The Minister Stefan Meller mentioned Japan, Republic of Korea, and ASEAN countries. And the only exception was Minister Adam Rothfeld. It was in 2005, because he said the rank, importance, and attractiveness of such partners as China, India, Pakistan, Thailand, Indonesia, and then many others will grow. It was really an exception, because in other speeches of our foreign ministers, I did not find some connection with Pakistan. There were declarations that we are not a growing important of Asia, potential continent for economic cooperation, but nothing more about Pakistan. In 2013, very interesting, when Radosław Sikorski was a Minister of Foreign Affairs, it was a question from Polish MP Tadeusz Iwiński. Please explain us why did you close Consulate General in the largest city of strong country as a Pakistan. It was Consulate General in Karachi. And as we know, this is time to reopen. Third Secretary. So, then if we go to the summary or some conclusions, I can underline again that Asia is the role of Asia in Polish foreign policy is growing, but gradually and slowly, because the main partner was China, but because of a geopolitical situation, we are very close ally of the United States. This is some clash, not civilizations, but now is a clash in many fields, and therefore China, according to me, will play important role, but not so great as we thought a few years ago. And also, if we look at the documents of Polish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, there were mentioned in 2004 that because it was the first document in which states were divided into priority, important, and non-priority countries. And I can say that Pakistan was included not as a priority, but as among important countries for Polish foreign policy. But if we look at the Polish foreign policy strategy 2017 and 2021, it's only South Asia is mentioned, but Pakistan, unfortunately, not. But we can see in last years that some kind of Europeization of our foreign policy toward Asia. And this is good direction, because, for example, Germany is for us also good examples that Germany developed relation not only with China and India, but also with Pakistan. And this, I think, is a good direction. And also, we can see economization of foreign policy. And then, if it was said that there is a quite good potential to develop economic trade cooperation. And if we look at the official statements, in 2017 was a Polish-Pakistani political consultations. And it was the Polish-Pakistani relations were described as friendly, but have not been for two sides expressed satisfaction at friendly and cordial nature of bilateral ties. And according to Polish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the relationship is described as our connection has been ever friendly, positive, and respectful. So it's a declaration, it's very optimistic, and let's do it in practice. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor R.K.D.S. Yokovsky, for your insightful talk, presentation on Polish foreign policy and Pakistan. Pakistan is important and Polish No. The thing is basically that in an academic program, if you don't engage into sports, it doesn't make sense to you. But then the reality is that we have run out of time. So what should we do now? I would request that if there are questions, must be very brief, precise, to the the point, whom you want to ask, and only 3 questions. Only 3 questions. And I would request if the mic is, so who will be first one to? Who will be first one? Please be very precise to the point, and whom you want to ask. Yes.
I'm Dr. Mazury from University of Karachi. First of all, I would like to congratulate to all the Urdu University for this successful event. As Dr. Mazury said, we have a very successful second track diplomacy, non-official, definitely. So the question which I want to cover with Professor Dr. Alaikum, that I know that it's difficult to cover 60 years into 10 minutes, but I would like to ask a few minutes to take that. What your opinion about what should the Pakistan and Polish should do for the better future relationship, and what are the priorities for the better future? And I would like also request you to kindly share your detailed paper to us for our students as well. It is my request to you that it is. And the question is that what are the priorities and what are the challenges Pakistan and Polish relationship in future as well?
Are you asking him, Professor?
Yes, Doctor.
Please.
Okay. Thank you for your question. You know, the quality was poor, but at first you asked me about the future, and then, you know, it's difficult to say what will be in the future. I'm not a prophet. So, but anyway, I think when we are talking about Pakistani-Polish relations, then gradually, step by step, there are some fields, you know, in economic, in energy, in mining, I think, and then also in cooperation in military industry, and also exchange some equipment, military equipment. This is, I think, could be the beginning of the wider cooperation, because the volume of the trade is not so much, you know, optimistic. And also, I think in IT we could find common links to use your, you know, potential as well Polish in quite many fields. So, and also, if I can say that, but it could be in the future, tourism is a such field, especially because for Polish people, Pakistan is almost unknown, and therefore, but is in media is presented as not so much secure country, and therefore very few Poles try to visit Pakistan. But in the future, I think it could be not maybe such direction as now Egypt or Italy for Poles, but anyway. So, and also maybe it is also the future. We could talk about the use peacefully nuclear energy because of the climate change and because of the crisis, energy crisis, and high prices for oil, gas, and this is also. And then, but at first, it should be a political climate that our elites should show businessmen and scholars a will that we would like to cooperate, not to declare but to, for example, to establish that it was on presentation, the students' exchange, to sign scientific agreement on cooperation. So I think there are quite many fields to cooperate. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, next, we have been quite hopeful, optimistic.
My question.
Good, very good. Now, we have two more, slot for two more questions, brief questions.
So my name is Mohammed Adam. I'm from FUUAST University, University, Karachi. So my question is, why America and the Western Union?
Whom you want to ask?
Yes,
Whom you want to ask? Which speaker?
I'm first from Dr. Sir. Yes, from me. Yes. So why America and the Western media criticize Pakistan and Korean about their human rights? And why America not see their human rights relationship to Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, tribal area of Pakistan by their role ethics in past? So please kindly.
You are asking about human rights?
Human rights.
Human rights?
Yes, human rights.
Human rights?
Yes.
I mean, if you could kindly be clear about what you want to ask. Because it's not clear.
So my question is, America and the Western media criticize Pakistan and Poland about their women rights, the women rights, and why they did not see in past the women rights violations in Waziristan and in Afghanistan, the tribal area of Pakistan. So this is my question, sir.
I am a scholar, not a politician, so you know, my second field of research are electoral systems, and I studied women participation in elections and some legal solution to improve women representation as a candidates, as a members of parliament, and this is I am competent in this this field, and I know that Pakistan was a pioneering country which introduced a quota for women to get to the parliament. It was, I think, in the 60s or a certain period. So, you know, this is, according to me, we should respect, you know, tradition, culture, religion, but as we say, we are equal, and it should be for everyone. And then, for example, you know, according to me, it's a different situation. For example, in the West, in the area, and of course in Afghanistan. I am not an expert of Afghanistan because I know when Taliban came to the power in Afghanistan, the electoral rights for women were abolished. So this is not, I think, not proper. Every citizen should have such rights to vote and to candidate. But this is sometimes, this is a process. Sometimes in very traditional societies, it takes not, you know, because you can declare something, but then you must prepare members of the society for a change that it lasts sometimes years. Okay. Thank you for your work.
Thank you very much. Well, we need to conclude because we are already behind the schedule. Three things which I would like to, while summing up this session, that since this session on Polish-Pakistan relations, challenges and opportunities, I think it has set the ball rolling, which basically means that it has, opened wide areas of discussion. So primarily, what I gather is from this session that the bottom line, as far as economic, trade, commercial, educational, scientific ties between these two countries. And it should be, second thing is that when we talk about Polish-Pakistan relations, there is a trade asymmetry in trade, that it is balances in favor of Pakistan. So it should be a win-win situation for both Poland and Pakistan. And the third thing is that both the two countries have passed through the trauma. I mean, Poland had experienced partition rights. Poland disappeared from the map of the world. And Pakistan also experienced the trauma of 1971 when it was disintegrated. So having said that, on the optimistic note, I would say that still there are wide prospects, and I would like to emphasize here what I basically mentioned while delivering my keynote address, that track one is there, track one meaning officials of the two countries, when the governments are engaged in discourse in various official agreements and negotiations and diplomacy and things like that. More important than track one is track two. What is going on over here at the non-official level? And the third thing is that it should trickle down as far as track three is concerned, people-to-people interaction. That is one way bridges can be built. That is one way an environment of mutual trust and confidence and cooperation can be established between Poland and Pakistan. And I earlier had not mentioned that, well, there was the tragic episode of November 1st, 1970, when the Polish deputy foreign minister was killed. But then, of course, there was another sad event that in 2008, a Polish engineer was brutally murdered by Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, banned TTP, and he was murdered by those who had got captive. So that is something which we have to understand, that the soft image of Pakistan is very important. And the soft image of Pakistan is only possible when the state and the society both they open areas where people can basically be the process of enlightenment. Enlightenment is very important. The culture of enlightenment in Pakistan, so that the image of Pakistan is not jeopardized. So I think this session has, as I said earlier, has set the ball rolling, and realistic, the great school of thought which was mentioned by the professor in PowerPoint presentation, and also the public diplomacy, that how the Musharraf's era, relations between these two countries, went on. But that now I think there is some stagnancy in Polish-Pakistan relations. Despite the fact these two countries are celebrating 60th anniversary of their ties. And I don't understand why it took Pakistan so long that Poland had established its embassy in Karachi in 1962 in December, And then Pakistan established its embassy in Warsaw after 6 years, 1969. So that has to do with our priorities and rethinking of priorities as far as the foreign policy domain is concerned. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for the questions. I'm sorry I was not able to take the last question because the time is up. And the tradition or the tradition not to leave mic when you are holding a mic, that is something which we should abandon, or not to leave the chair. That is something which we should not do. So thank you very much. And there is, I think, I don't want to restrain you, detain you between as far as the lunch is concerned. So we will be time lunch break. I don't know how. I think 45 minutes break, or you can squeeze it to 40 minutes, something like that. Thank you very much.
Director University of Warmia and Mazury, Poland. Please come up on stage to receive honorary shield from Dr. Asghar Dasti, Chairman Department of IR.
Yes, I would like to request the Rector of University of Warmia to give the shield to Professor Dr. Monis Ahmed, former Chairman, Department of International Relations, University of Karachi. Dr. Rector of Warmia University, Poland. He is giving the shield to Professor Dr. Monis Ahmed, former Chairman, Department of International Relations, University of Karachi. Now, my dear, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, my dear listeners, I'm going to highlight one big achievement from the decks of the Department of International Relations. I would like to congratulate Dr. Asghar Ali Dashti, the Chairman, Department of International Relations, Dr. Faisal Javed, Dr. Arif Khan, Dr. Ridwana Jabi, Dr. Yasmin Sultana, all participants, all speakers, all paper presenters, to announce a big achievement. I'm going to announce a big achievement of the Department of International Relations, that e-magazine entitled Politico Vista has emerged from the students from the Department of International Relations. So I think it is a big achievement from the students of the Department of International Relations. I would like to invite all editorial team over the stage: Nusrat Tariq, Abdul Samad, Munazza Khan, okay, Abdul Rahman, Irfa Iqbal, Maryam Anwar, Iram Naz, Iqra Tariq, Arish Ahmed, Sayyida Bushra, Unais Hussain, over the stage. At the stage now, this is our team. This is the team of Politico Vista from the decks of the Department of International Relations, Federal Urdu University, Arts, Science and Technology. Politico Vista has emerged e-magazine from the Department of IR. Okay, furthermore, I would like to request Muhammad Anas to show the e-magazines at multimedia. I would like to ask Mr. Anas to show the e-magazine at multimedia.
Limestone and Billy, served by the Department of International Relations, Federal Urdu University, Karachi. The Birmingham quarterly student magazine is based on national and international affairs. In fact, faculty and advocating teams were extremely accountable and dedicated for the completion of significant wisdom. It's an honor for this country to be inaugurated at Pakistan-Polish International Scientific Conference.
जो है वो माशाल्लाह बना दिया है, पब्लिश कर दिया है। ये डिपार्टमेंट में ऑलमोस्ट 18 इयर्स की यानी कि जब से कुछ बनी है, ये पहली दफा ऐसा होगा कि तलबा ने 130 से ज़ायद की पेजेस पे कुछ ये मैगजीन है जिसको उर्दू और इंग्लिश सेक्शन दोनों मौजूद है।
दोनों जबानों में अंग्रेजी और उर्दू जबान में शाया किया जाएगा।
ये मैगजीन इंटरनेशनल अफेयर्स के तलबा मैगजीन है और इसमें नेशनल और इंटरनेशनल अफेयर्स को कवर किया जा रहा है।
मैगजीन कॉर्पोरेटली शाया किया जाएगा और स्टूडेंट्स के यहाँ पे एक प्लेटफॉर्म मुहैया किया गया है शोबे बैन-अल-अक़वामी ताल्लुकात के तहत, ताकि वो अपनी जो काबिज है उसको तहसीली शक्ल में आप लोगों के सामने ला सकें।
इसके नतीजे में तलबा के अंदर जो सलाहियतें लिखने के हवाले में सलाहियतें वो उभरेंगी और तलबा इससे सीखेंगे भी, और तलबा के लिए एक मौका है कि वो इसमें अपना जो राइटअप है, अपने ब्लॉग्स हैं, अपने मज़ामीन हैं वो पब्लिश कर सकते हैं। ये मैगजीन उनके लिए एक प्लेटफॉर्म है।
मैं समझती हूँ कि इससे स्टूडेंट्स को ना सिर्फ काम सीखने का मौका मिलेगा और जब वो फील्ड में जाएंगे और प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ के अंदर जाएंगे तो यहाँ से वो बहुत कुछ सीख के जाएंगे, ताकि वो अपनी प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ के अंदर ये सब कुछ इसका इतलाक़ आने के साथ उनके लिए मुमकिन हो सके।
ये हमारे IR के स्टूडेंट की बहुत अच्छी कॉलेज है। मैं इसकी बहुत ज़्यादा जो है उसको सराहना होती जो है बहुत ज़्यादा ये कदर करते हैं और ये दुआ करते हैं कि ये अल्लाह ताला इसमें और कामयाबी दे।
The last words before lunch, but I would like to invite a rector of the University of Warmia and Mazury in Olsztyn, Professor Jerzy Przyborowski, and also the head of the Department of International Relations, Federal Urdu University, Professor Dajri, on the stage. This is a souvenir to director, head of the department, and thank you very much for organizing so big event, scientific.